Good morning and welcome to another plan with me. This week I'm memory planning January 5th to the 11th, and I'm using this kit from the Prairie Planner called Winter Festival. I do have a bit of a cold right now, so I do sound a little bit funky and it might take some pain for me to get through this, but I want to get through this. So this week I decided to start from the top and work my way down because last week I started from the bottom and went up. And there was a big gap on top that I didn't like, so I thought maybe if I tried going from the top to the bottom, I wouldn't have the problem anymore. But I kind of ran into the problem again, so I don't really know how to space this. I know it's probably something really obvious and in my face, but I'm just like not seeing it. I don't know. But to cover up the space at the bottom, I did use a really skinny piece of Simply Gilded washi. So I mean, it kinda works. Next week is another trial and error. I don't know, I think I'm just not used to not having I mean, I'm just used to having guidelines on where to put my stickers, and so where there's nothing for me to follow, it's very difficult. Like, I'm having trouble problem solving, I guess. Well, I am kind of problem solving with the glitter headers. I'm using a sticker sheet to kind of line them up. I mean, I don't know, I'm trying things, seeing what works. If it helps, it helps, you know? So yeah, anyways, this was my first week back at work after the 2-week break that we had for Christmas. And I know the stickers are very blurry from this point of view. You can't really see what's on the boxes, but I guess when I get to the day by day, you'll be able to see them better. It's just, I'm still playing around with my lighting and my camera, not my camera, my phone. I should invest in a camera because I do want a camera for other things as well. Yeah, it's not a priority, I guess. So but yet gaming equipment is. I don't know. Go figure. Sorry, anyway, that was just a little argument with myself. I am not sure what else happened this week other than work starting. I did a lot of gaming, and this is the week that I started, like this weekend on the 10th, I started to get sick. And I've been sick ever since, and it is now like a week later. So, ugh, I used to not get sick very often, but now it seems like I get sick so easily. I remember I did have COVID, and ever since I had COVID and, the whole season ended, I just noticed my immune system has never been the same, and it kinda sucks because yeah, I'm around germs all day. Yeah, so there's that skinny washi I was talking about. I do have a lot of skinny washi. I mean, I have a lot of Simply Gilded washi leftovers that I had for years, so it might not be the worst thing in the world to have to use them up this year. Could be one of my goals to try and downsize my collection of stuff because I had them for a long time. Oh, sorry. I was trying to pause that and I didn't catch it in time. I am so sorry. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm just gonna get into the day by day because I'm like fighting through this. On Monday, the first thing I'm marking is that I read and I'm using a book sticker from the kit. And then I'm marking coffee with a coffee sticker from the kit. And then to mark work this week, I am using the flags that came with the kit. Thankfully, there's 5 of them because I just use them for work. And I'm using this crayons and rainbow drawing from Paper Shire. Then to mark Apex, I'm using this controller from the Starlight Paper Co. shop. And to mark cuddling, I'm using these bunnies from Paper Shire. And then to mark that we watched Mr. Bean that evening, I'm using a TV that came with the kit. Watching Mr. Bean on, like, Sunday and Monday is so comforting. It's, like, because I get really bad Sunday scaries, and I don't know, it's just a comfort show. It's, like, also one of my husband's favorite shows. Moving on to Tuesday with this Tater Girl. I believe it's called a Tater Girl or something, but it's from the Coffee Monsters Co. I'm marking that I read because she's reading a book there, and then to mark work, whoops, I'm using another Tater Girl holding a pencil. And then to mark that I was so tired, I'm using this Munchkin from Once More with Love, just looking miserable because, yeah, after the holidays, coming back to work and not Getting to sleep as long as you want is very hard. It's very, very hard. And then that evening, I played Superstore, so I'm using this I believe these are from Once More with Love, this Munchkin with the computer monitors. I don't play on computer, I play on, Xbox, but I liked how these look because I used to stream. I wanna get back into streaming, but I just haven't had the time or the energy. And then to Mark, watching the show called what's it called again? All of Us Are Dead. I'm using just sounds really crazy, but I'm using the TV that came with a kit. And then to Mark cuddling that evening, I'm using these munchkins from Once More with Love. Moving on to Wednesday, the first thing I'm marking with another book from the Prairie Planner is that I read. And then to mark work this day, I'm using this laptop that I can't remember where it's from. Okay, so I'm 80%, maybe 85% sure it's from the sticker party, but I could be wrong. And then to mark that I was still tired AF, like just still trying to get used to being up early, I'm using another I think this one's Once More with Love, but it could also be from the Coffee Monsters Co. Just the, upset looking head. And then I went for a walk at the walking tracks. I'm using the shoe that came with the kit, and then to mark that I played Call of Duty, I'm using these Once More with Love this Once More with Love munchkin to mark that. And then I'm using these munchkins from Once More with Love again to mark cuddling just the same way that I did on Tuesday. Moving on to Thursday, first thing I'm marking is that I read and I'm using another book from the Prairie Planner. And then I'm using another Tater Girl to mark work. And then to mark that my contact lens was messing up this day, I'm using this munchkin from Once More with Love. I kind of think that this is the day where I started to feel sick because when I have really bad colds, my it affects my sinuses, which affects my eyes because then my eyes get like really watery and whatever. But then it also affects my contact lenses. I don't know. I don't understand. It's like allergies kind of. I don't know. I don't know what the scientific thing is behind it, but in any case, my contact was messing up and it was kind of making me mad because I needed to work on report cards and I couldn't really see out of one of them. So yeah, it was dumb. Speaking of report cards, to mark that, I'm using the laptop that came with the kit. And then we went to get Dairy Queen after work. So I'm using the spoon and fork from the kit. And then to mark that, I started watching the show His and Hers. That's the book adaptation to TV show from Alice Feeney, I believe. I am using the TV from the kit. Moving on to Friday, first thing I'm marking is that I read and I'm using another book from the Prairie Planner. And then to mark coffee, I'm using the Starlight Paper Co Girl to mark coffee. And then to mark that I was working or I went to work, I'm using another Tater Girl. It doesn't really bother me that they're almost side by side in this planner, it's fine, but I know it's kind of a little strange looking. Anyway, to mark that I continued working on report cards, I'm using the computer monitor that came with the kit, and then to mark that I went to get more Tims that day, I'm using a coffee cup from the Prairie Planner. And I think this evening I finished binging His and Hers, so I'm using the movie marquee that came with the kit as well as the popcorn, and I have to say that I really liked the movie. I mean, no, it's not a movie, it's a show. I actually read the book last year, like in 2024, kind of just doing a backlist of her books, not knowing that they were gonna come out with this TV show about it, and I was super, super stoked. So, I love adaptations, and sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. Oh my goodness, and a good example of this is there's a book called, No Exit by Taylor Adams, I think, and I read the book and freaking loved the book. And then I didn't know they had a show on Disney, and I watched it and just hated it. It was just I didn't like it not at all. But anyway, that's a tangent. Moving on to Saturday, first thing I'm marking is that I was up early and I'm using the alarm clock that came with the kit. Then I'm marking that I went to get coffee, so I'm using another coffee cup from the Prairie Planner. And then to mark that I took a nap, I'm using the bed that came with the kit. I didn't take a nap like right after I got coffee because that just looks funny on my planner, like up early, coffee, nap, but that's not really how it went. Anyway, to mark that I gamed out, I'm using another one of those munchkins with, the monitors, and then I did some planning, so I'm using the sticker stack that came with the kit, and then out this is where I was feeling really super sick, so I'm using that Coffee Monsters Calamoti to mark that. And then moving on to Sunday, first thing I'm marking is that I had a YouTube binge and I'm using the phone that came with the kit. Worked on report cards using this, oh my gosh, I forgot what a pencil was called. Using a pencil to mark report cards. And then I played some games, so I'm using another one of those munchkins with computer monitors. Then we went to get groceries using the grocery cart sticker that came with the kit. So then I did laundry using the laundry sticker that came with the kit. I love how the kit comes with all these functional stickers. It's wonderful. And then to mark that me and my husband started this new game called Arc Raiders. Me and my husband met playing games online, and we rarely ever play games together anymore because we do have different tastes in games. But this is a game that we're trying together, and we're both liking it. So this might be the game that we play together. And then to mark huddles, I'm using these munchkins from what's a oh my gosh, once more with love. I did it. I got through the whole thing. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a great week and yeah, see you later.